This morning, Washington state lawmakers are looking at a new plan where drivers would pay a tax for every mile they drive. This comes as more drivers are moving to electric cars and not paying state gas taxes. Fox 12's Joe Vithiathil is here now to tell us how the state has been testing out this proposed tax. Good morning.
Good morning, Kim. Yeah, so Washington and Oregon have both passed plans that would ban the sale of gas-powered cars by 2035. Now, right now in Washington, drivers pay the state 49 cents for every gallon of gas they buy, and that money helps pay for road and transportation projects. But with fewer gas cars on the road every year, that means less funding for those projects. So lawmakers are looking for a way to close that money gap. And so the state just wrapped up a trial program where people paid 2.5 cents for every mile they drove. More than 1,000 people volunteered to be a part of this program. Essentially, they tracked the miles they drove. They could either record the mileage themselves or have it tracked via GPS. That data was reported to the state, and then they were charged a total amount based on the amount that they drove. In return, they could be eligible for some refunds on car license fees. Now, yesterday, state officials released the results of that trial program, and they say that 70% of participants in the trial program were happy with the reporting and payment process, but there were some issues. More than half of participants said that they have privacy concerns. You know, if GPS, for example, is tracking their location. And by the end of the study, about 20% of people were not paying the taxes that they owed. Meanwhile, some drivers in the state, like Patrick Barta, have equity concerns.
I would assume it's probably going to hurt those people who have to commute a long ways, especially maybe the lower income people who can't afford to live in Seattle but still have to work in Seattle. You know, it's probably going to hurt them more than the people who obviously have the means.
Now, the state is taking this information and hoping to have a voluntary pay per mile program in place for all Washington drivers that's at least available to them by 2025, again, on a volunteer basis. Then by 2030, a pay per mile model could become a mandatory replacement for the state gas tax. Now, Oregon already has a program like this in place. It's for all drivers in the state. It's available for them. It's called OrGo. It is, again, a voluntary program where users sign up to pay 1.9 cents for every mile they drive in Oregon, with that money going into the state highway fund. Participants who drive a gas car can get fuel tax credits to save them money at the pump when they gas up, and electric car drivers get reduced registration fees. If you want to learn more about that Oregon program, we have a link to the website for it at kptv.com.